Hello folks, and welcome to the Counting Sheep podcast. My name is Ruth and this is episode 11, and welcome to my channel. And if you're new here, you're most welcome. This is a podcast about my fibery life in Vermont. I own a sheep farm with my husband, a very small sheep farm. We only have 4 sheep, but we use the fiber from the sheep, and also mostly crocheting. I do some knitting, spinning adventures, and any kind of shenanigans I get up to in and around Vermont. So if you're here for that, I welcome you, and please leave a comment down below and like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Today I have, well, first of all, it's been a minute. It's about a little over 3 weeks since I last podcast, and I'm feeling it a little bit. But my mom was here for a 2-week visit, and which was very enjoyable. But as you can imagine, it's kind of hard to do everything. So I did manage to get in a little bit of crocheting, knitting, and spinning time, and hope to show you some objects along the way here. But yeah, so today I have a finished object, and I have many things in progress, but that's the fun of it, right? is getting to look at all the colors and things. I was to the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival, which was September 30th and October 1st, that weekend. I did do some demo spinning with my friend Tammy, and we did get to walk around and take in all the sights. So I do have some footage and some still photos that I will put in at the end of the video. So in case you're not here for that, you can just kind of tune out before that comes on. So yeah, that was a great weekend to be out and about. That was perfect weather. We haven't had really the spectacular foliage here in Vermont that we usually expect. I believe it's because of all the rain we had over the summer, and it just kind of, I think, either waterlogged the trees, or the trees were just like, that's it, I'm done, you know. And so they've been kind of drying out, not really turning any color but brown, and then crisping up and falling off the trees, all the leaves. So it's been kind of a challenge to find the beauty that we normally are used to here in Vermont. I'm hoping to get some photos, though. I see some color just now that looks like the way it's supposed to look. So maybe my next video I will insert those photos, since I don't have enough of them right now. But I do have that footage from Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival. All right, so that being said, I'm gonna dive right in here. And I am going to show you first my Prairie Bag, because I'm so proud of it. It's gotten so many compliments. I am done with it. I know on the last podcast I was getting close to being done. But this is actually now lined. I sewed the lining in. I sewed the interfacing in. And also, yeah, it's turned out to be a work of art. And it already has a project in it. So I want to show it to you. Here is the full view of the Prairie Bag. I have some nice long straps. There is a magnetic enclosure, as you can see here, and a full fabric lining. And the designer goes into great detail about how to stitch everything together. There is some hand sewing involved, although this lining is completely optional. You do not need this lining. I just happen to think it gives a little more security to the bag and a little more structure. And I don't mind sitting and hand sewing for a bit, because I also find that relaxing, as long as there's not an overwhelming amount of it to do. So anyway, yeah, and so this is front and back, this design. A beautiful Prairie Bag. This is by Outstanding Crochet. Vermont's a designer, and I can't speak highly enough for this bag. It is embossed crochet, which I've done very little of, if any, and you do have to pay attention, which I'm glad to do, as long as I'm not watching a documentary or something that I have to pay attention to. But yeah, this was a fun make, so highly recommend. Once again, Outstanding Crochet, it's the Prairie Bag. So yeah, that's my only FO, I think, on this podcast. So apologies for that, but that was quite some work to do, as you can imagine. The yarn for that is Scheepjes Catona. It's 100% cotton. And I believe I gave the color numbers a couple episodes back. So that's just the blue, nice brilliant blue and brilliant yellow. Matter of fact, some people called it my Ukrainian bag because of the colors of it. I've just liked that contrast. It's very nice and unique. All right, so the other thing I don't have to show you here physically because I gave it to my mother, but I signed up for a test crochet for another pumpkin. As you can recall, I made a pumpkin an episode ago. I showed it on here, but then I saw this test crochet. I'm a member of Yarn Pond, which is a website that is devoted to test crocheting and test knitting. This crochet pumpkin was for JSThreads, and it is called the Autumn Glory Pumpkin. And I will try to put a picture in here of the pumpkin. And for this pumpkin, I used Lion Brand Hue Me, which is a wool acrylic blend, I believe. I actually threw away the ball band, which is bad on me. I used a 5.5 millimeter hook, which is an eye hook in the States. And the colorway I used was the Desert colorway. Now, I've used this yarn before, and I really liked the feel of it. And it was the yarn that the designer used in her test protege pumpkin, if you will. And so I decided to go ahead, since I had experience with this yarn and I know how it works up, and it works up really nicely. So the pattern is due to be released on the 22nd, which is coming up this Sunday. So if you want to keep your eye out for that. It's quite an interesting crochet. It's an interesting stitch that I've never done before. But you know, I find crochet is like that. It seems like there's a never-ending variety and number of ways you can do a stitch, and several stitches, and so on and so forth. So, and so I think that's what gives crochet its own niche in the fiber arts. So, all right. So my Autumn Glory pumpkin and the Prairie Bag by Outstanding Crochet. So I lied. I had 2 FOs, but one of which I physically cannot show you. Great. It is October, and a lot of people do socks during October and call the whole thing Socktober, which I think is so cute. And I came across this pattern, and I have to tell you, I've been doing a massive airing of the stash in my house, which has taken me forever. So along with my mom being here and me airing my stash, it's no wonder that it's been 3 weeks since I podcasted. But anyway, so I saw this pattern. I started it, and then I couldn't put it down. It is for a crocheted sock. It is a drops design, if you're familiar with drops, and it's called Blue Thunder. So yeah, it's hard to see from the picture, but it has a toe-up construction, and it has a beautiful lace shell pattern. And this is yarn that I have no idea what it is. Like I said, I've been doing a massive airing of the stash, and so this is kind of popped up. It said, look at me, I am purple. So, but I have started the sock, and I've gotten around the heel, and I'm just on my way up the leg portion, of course. So it's kind of a rounded toe. And then, you know, an increase for the gusset here. And then the heel is an interesting construction too, all in single crochet. The main pattern body is double crochets and single and chain stitches. So it's, you know, like a shell pattern to it. But I couldn't let this beautiful yarn just kind of sit around. It had already been caked up. And the cake is kind of getting elongated as I work. And I am measuring this because, you know, I'm actually weighing my yarn to make sure I'll have more than enough for the second sock. So, but yeah, it's fast, you know. Once you get around, you know, done with this single crochet bit, which doesn't really take all that long, double crochet goes really fast. So yeah, I'm having fun with that, and I've tried it on already. That's the beauty of doing a toe-up sock, is that you can, you know, try it on. Yeah, so I'm enjoying that a lot, and stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have a finished pair the next go-around, next time I come on. I had talked about, let's see, the Moret Make-Along. And I'm not sure if I went into great detail. I probably did. Moret magazine is a crochet magazine which is published in Scotland, in Edinburgh. And I am the proud owner of all of its 5 issues thus far. The 5th issue just came out. And to celebrate the 5th issue, Moret magazine is having a crochet along. And so I decided I wanted to take part in that. I don't know whether I'll be able to get done with what I chose to do, but I'm having a great time doing it. So let me just first show you the pattern, if I can find it. So the pattern is out of the Moret 5, and it is called the Fealty hat. And I just have a black and white photo of it here, but it's a pattern by Faye-Hughes. It's a huge hat, huge shawl, and it's square. Sorry about the black and white. It's a square shawl, and that's kind of the nature of a hat, is that it's huge. It's like almost like a blanket that you're wearing. And it's done in lace weight yarn. So I had all of the necessary ingredients for the shawl sitting in my stash for a long time. My husband and I visited Italy back in, it was before the pandemic, for our anniversary, and I picked up some Italian cashmere while I was there. And it was actually cashmere made for this store in Venice, Lellabella. So soft cashmere in this nice gray color. And I started the Fealty hat, which is such a nice relaxing crochet. It's lace weight done on a larger hook, lace weight yarn, and I'm doing mine on a 4 millimeter, which is what is called for in the pattern. Now, I don't have as much yardage as is called for in the pattern, but as you can see, it's a beautiful, just a nice crochet, easy pattern, very easy to do. And I'll just back up a little bit. I'll show you how wide it is. I'm sure it's going to get wider when I block it. But yeah, it feels so nice. I mean, cashmere, you know, how can you beat cashmere? So the rows are kind of long, so I haven't really gotten all that far with it. But it's a, you know, it's a crochet along, And so if, you know, the spirit moves you, maybe you can find a pattern. Gosh, I found millions of patterns to do in Moret magazine. It's such an inspiring publication. And it's the editor is Allison Chu. She's an American living in Edinburgh, crocheter primarily, but she does do some knitting. She has the Keep Calm and Carry Yarn podcast with her mother, and you may know of her. So yeah, so I know I'm showing just the same things over and over again, but it's kind of fun, you know, like to really watch the progress happen. So that's for a 4mm hook. I think I forgot to tell you the size hook on my socks. I'm using a 2mm hook on that one. Very small. But I'm kind of used to that. I'm kind of used to working with fingering lighter weights of yarn with crochet. So I just wanted to chit-chat a little bit about a work in progress, which I'm probably going to frog and not pursue. I spoke about it in the last couple podcasts, having a hard time getting started with it, having trouble with the yarn weight, and in general just not feeling it. And interestingly enough, and this was so time-worthy, I belong to the crochet project's The Hub, which is by Joanne's Grace. It's kind of a membership website for crochet and the crochet project. I've always admired all the patterns and creative vibe that Joanne's Grace has. She is a British designer, and she has done a lot of shawls, a lot of sweater booklets. But anyway, she in her one of her recent emails, she does a weekly email. She talked about calling time. And in essence, it had to do with she didn't take her own advice on her own pattern, used a yarn that didn't have a lot of drape, or it wasn't, I think it just wasn't right for the project. And she had gone into explaining in the project, in the pattern, the importance of picking or selecting the correct yarn for this project. Which, when she went back to do it the second time around, she didn't take her own advice. So she got part of the way into the project and decided that this isn't working out. She's going to stop, rip back, call time. And how important it is to call time on a project when you're just not feeling it, you're not feeling the vibe. The yarn's not working out for you, the project's not working out for you. And this is how I kind of feel about these Filix mittens. So let me just show you, and you're gonna get sick and tired of seeing this, but this will be the last time. This is a pattern by Judith Brand. It is from Pom Pom magazine. I forget which issue exactly. This is the actual picture. I think they're lovely. I think they're delicate. And I found them to be a little bit too delicate for me. Because well, here you go. I was using the yarn double, and that wasn't working out for me. This is the yarn worked single, and that wasn't working. This isn't working out for me either. I can't tell you why. Well, yeah, I can. First of all, it's too light for the weather we have in Vermont. I have a feeling I'd put these on and it wouldn't make any difference in terms of warmth factor. And you do have to think about that when you live in Vermont. I've struggled with the yarn a bit. It's beautiful yarn. It's lace weight. And I've struggled with the gauge and just the way the material feels. So when that email came across, the newsletter email from Joanne's Grace saying about calling time, she asked all of us, you know, do you have trouble calling time? And I have to say, as I've gotten older, it's been easier and easier for me to call time out on a project. Basically because I don't want something sitting around that I'll never use. It's just a waste. It would be a waste of my creative time and a waste of it just sitting there and doing nothing. Now, yes, I could probably do this, you know, set a mitts and find a wonderful receiver for them. However, I think my time is better spent perhaps making a set of mitts that is a little heavier or much heavier, and something that I can use during these upcoming winter months, cooler weather in Vermont. So I'm officially calling time on the Filix mitts, and I'm giving you permission to do the same. Do you have a project that is just, you get started with it, you felt excited about it initially, and then all of a sudden it just, you weren't feeling it anymore? I know I recently gave permission to one of my friends to call time on a sweater project. She was just explaining over and over and over again about all the issues she was having with this particular project. And when she finally paused to take a breath, I said, it sounds like you're just not feeling it anymore. Like, it sounds like you're really over it. And she says, I am. And I'm like, well, I give you permission to just call time and get done with it. So, and the relief on her face was incredible. You know, like, why do we punish ourselves? Why do we continue to pursue something that is not giving us joy? So, so I personally give you permission to call time on a project or projects, whatever. And certainly with the airing of the stash that I've been doing for the past couple, it's been like a month I've been doing this. I certainly have been calling time on a lot of stuff that's been put away that, you know what, I'm like, what was I thinking? So, you know, our tastes change, and that can, you know, your taste can change day by day. So give yourself a break and, yeah, do something that you love, because that's what fiber arts are all about, is doing what you love. All right, enough of my soapbox. I'm going to move along to knitting. I want to show you my sunflower mittens. And like I said, I got a little bit of everything done. I want to show you the mitten that is done. Ooh, everything's getting tangled. So this is sunflower mittens, and this is a pattern by Mary Jane Mucklestone, who's hails from Maine in the States here. And these are, well, this is my first mitten. The brown color is shepherd's wool from, let me see now. Yeah, shepherd's wool from Stonehedge Fiber Mill in Michigan. And the variegated warm color, which that's the name of the colorway, is warm, is from Abstract Fiber and Yarn, and they are in Portland, Oregon. It's hand dyed. And then the hand part is just this nice grid look to it. My only criticism with this pattern is that the top of the mitten is just a little bit tight. And this is an unblocked mitten, so I reserve the right to say that and then retract it later. Because I truly haven't soaked this in water yet and blocked it out. But I have a feeling once, you know, wool is lovely to block. I mean, you just stick it, you know, stick a couple pins in it and it'll stay the way you want it to. So, so yeah, I am going to block this, and hopefully I'll have the other, it's mate done. And this is how far I am with this. I am working this inside out. I find color work a little more easier that way. It doesn't get as tight, and the floats don't get as tight. So yeah, all the patterning is on the inside here. I do magic loop when I do small circular small circumference knitting, just because, well, I do use double points when I have to. Like the cuff, I did it in double points because I did the cuff on number 4 needles, and the hand is actually being done on number 6 needles. So yeah, this is a fun pattern. Stay tuned for the blocking, and we'll go from there. So yeah, and I'm loving the yarn. The yarn is just so soft, and of course, how can you beat a colorway like this? You know, I mean, it's just so autumnal and so wonderful for this time of year. I was showing this to one of the librarians where I volunteer at the library, and she was saying, "Oh, you made it in brown. That's great." She says, "There's nothing like sticking mittens on and then getting them dirty right away when if you have a brown color, it doesn't show up as much." So she's very practical. So, and I have to say I'm right there with her. So I don't like getting things dirty either right away. And your hands always are in something, right? All right, so that is the sunflower mittens. And then I just wanted to give an update on my pressed flowers cardi. You're not going to be able to see much progress on this. I think I put maybe 3 rows on it since the last we spoke. But I thought I'd show it anyway because this one's going front and center. I need to get this done. It's been sitting around way too long, as I find many of my projects kind of languish. But this is a pattern. This is by Savory Knitting. Also, it's Amy Christopher's. She, as you probably already know, and I've said this before, has done this motif in a shawl, a pullover, a hat, I believe, and now this is the cardigan. And this is mine. The main color is my own farm yarn from one of my Shetland sheep, who's no longer with us. His name was Fergus. So he's what we call he was what we called a weathered sheep, which means it's just a neutered male. And what happens when you neuter a male, they can live with the females. And the other good thing about it is that all that testosterone type energy goes toward wool production. So, so yeah, all of their energy goes into the wool. The color of the wool is wonderful. And I gotta tell you, this is looking great on camera. And I think, and when I hold it at arm's length, it looks great. But when I'm up close to it, I can hardly see the flowers. And I think one of the traps we get into as knitters and maybe crocheters as well is that we're so close to our knitting, and if we can't see the pattern that, you know, is supposed to be seen at that level, we don't think it's good. But I was just telling somebody today that we're too close to it. We need to stand back and take a look at it, or look at it on camera. So yeah, so I'm actually like so enjoying seeing this now from a distance and on camera. So the yarn I used, the color variegated yarn, is from Feederbrook Farm, and then of course my farm yarn here from Fergus. So yeah, this is all done in one piece, fronts and back, and then I'm very close to separating for the front and back. Yeah, so, and I think I have plenty of yarn. So you always wonder whether you bought enough yarn, whether you have enough. But anyway, so that is my pressed flowers cardigan. And I just want to show you the picture from the pattern. I think I've shown this before. This one's done up in white. Also with different flowers, colored flowers there. All right, so yeah, that's going to go front and center because, like I said, it really needs to get done. So I think that's it for knitting. There are other things that are waiting in the wings that I think I will share at a later time. Other things that I want to get on with. So on to shenanigans. I mentioned that I went to the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival. And lots of great vendors there, lots of great colors. Lots of people, fiber-oriented people. You know when you're with your tribe. So certainly it was Fiber Day out for the fiber girls. So like I said, I did do about 2 hours of spinning for demonstration purposes, and there were a lot of people interested in the wheel and also the drop spindles that we had at the demo as well. So yeah, if you can get out to a sheep festival, I know Rhinebeck is coming up this weekend, and there's one in New England. It's the New England Fiber Festival, or the Fiber Festival of New England. First weekend in November, and that's held at the Big E, the Big E Fairgrounds in West Springfield, Massachusetts. And that's a nice one. It's all indoors, and they do have animals there, and lots of great vendors. So if you're looking for a fiber festival to go to and you're in the area, I highly recommend those fiber festivals. My other shenanigan, which is coming up next week, is I'm going away for 4 days. Not too far away. I'm just going into southern New Hampshire to Harrisville, New Hampshire. I'm going to be taking a class at Harrisville Designs. And if you don't know Harrisville, oh gosh, you're missing out. Beautiful little town. Used to be a weaving mill town and has been in the process of being restored. And Harrisville Designs is a spinning mill, and they also make their own weaving looms. So, and they do offer classes in a variety of fiber arts. Next week's course is knitting with one of my favorite instructors, a local gal. Her name's Donna Kay, and the woman has a patience of a saint, and she's a wonderful designer as well as teacher. Hails from New Hampshire, and I'm happy to call her a good friend as well. I see her in plenty of my stomping circles on the fiber route. She is truly a wonderful creative fiber artist, and so I'm hoping to be able to take some pictures and pictures of the town, pictures of people doing things in this class. I am taking Bavarian knitting, which primarily focuses on twisted stitches. So I'm getting excited. I have a German heritage, and so this is kind of right up my alley. I'm already familiar with Bavarian knitting. I have 3 books on it, which are all in German. And I do speak German. I do read some German as well. But my mother hails from Baden-Württemberg, which is the province right next to Bavaria. And she was looking at all my Bavarian knitting books, and she was just kind of gaga. She's a knitter herself, so she was kind of having FOMO about my going to the course next week. It's 4 days. It's Tuesday through Friday. And I'm going to be staying down in Harrisville, even though it's only about an hour and a half from my house. It's just a neat little getaway town to be in and be immersed in knitting for 4 days. So, yeah, highly looking forward to that. So I guess that's it for today. Sorry about the 3-week lag. I'm hoping to not do that again. But we'll never, you never know. Life kind of, sends you off in a different direction sometimes. But yeah, I like to keep it to 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, because I have updates and I have things to show you. So yeah, and I'm going to give you a spinning update real quick before we go, because this is something I picked up at the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival. This is Teeswater. Teeswater is a type of sheep, and this lady dyed it in these wonderful colors. So yeah, and her name is, this is Windridge Farm, and they hail Oh, I think they're in New Hampshire. They have registered Teeswater sheep. And I was going to look this up for you guys too, the Teeswater sheep. This is the Field Guide to Fleece, and that pretty much gives you a little blurb about every sheep that's available. So the Teeswater is a conservation breed, meaning that they're trying to protect that breed from becoming extinct. It offers length and luster. The Teeswater fleeces are also finer than those of most English long wools. Long, wavy, smooth surfaced locks, free of all kemp and dark fibers, and they hang individually and don't clump together. It's best used for a weaving yarn. It's very durable without being stiff or scratchy. So knitted or crocheted items will drape well, look sleek and shiny, and have terrific stitch definition. And so when I got this home, I really could not resist spinning a little of it up. And there it is. I decided to do one strand, one spun strand of the red or the magenta and one spun strand of the blue, and then ply them together. And this is about a sock weight, so oh yeah, I love it. I just love it. So that's my spinning news. I almost forgot that segment, and it's so important. So so yeah, here I will show you more. It spins like a dream. It spins like a dream, and it makes nice yarn. So Teeswater, everyone, and that'll be it for me. I will see you in 2 weeks. Take care and keep on making. Bye-bye. Good morning. Here I am, first thing in the morning, first day of the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival. I'm in my car, and I have my spinning wheel. All strapped in, ready to go. And we're off. I can get it to work. There it goes.
He said he was heading me to dinner. Want to go look at the other ship?
I know you. Like, I'm eating. They're hot. I'm hot. Yeah, I know. Twin babies. We have 3 farms here. You're welcome to come in and list. I hope if you're interested in. Wow. That is amazing. Isn't that fun? Magic. Thank you.